Okay, so we want that to be about 8 times the size of our controls. And then here in these controls, what can we do? I don't think it's really important what we do for the theme of this. Let's just add some buttons. So we've got a simple texture button, I guess. Oh no, let's just have a normal button. And we want to make sure our size flags enable a vertical expansion. Okay, and we're going to call this U for up. And let's create an icon. So let's jump into Sprite and find an icon for ourselves. I think it's going to be in part 2. Weirdly, I find that all the good stuff is in part 2, so I don't know what he was doing for part 1, but oh wait, I know what we wanted to do. I found some sprites with some controller input things. I think they're here. So we've got this keyboard, we've got the PlayStation, the Switch, and the Xbox. So which of these look the most generic for game arrows? So I find these kind of point in the wrong direction. Maybe these ones are quite generic, aren't they? And just do like that. So look in the Switch. I mean, these kind of look like arrows pointing in the other direction. And the PlayStation's about the same, isn't it? I mean, we could use the triangle to just sort of make it look like it's pointing, but I don't quite like that. Keyboard's a bit weird. Okay, I think we need to find an actual icon for this. Let's go back to Sprite and have a look around. I mean that arrow's kind of ugly, but we can fix it. What's this other one? Part 1. That arrow is kind of okay. I feel like we probably can fix that one a little easier than the other one. Oh, I like these. These are cool. Yeah, let's grab these. I don't know, I think they're supposed to be spikes, but I think they look enough like arrows to warrant some creative usage. So let's jump into player and then go up into the GUI, and we're going to call this arrow up. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're just going to grab this, which is an M, just like Photoshop. And we're going to grab our texture and do an Option S O to crop it, and a save. and then I'm going to save as and call this arrow down. And give that a save, and then I think there is flip vertical, and so we can save that. So we now got our up and down arrows. Okay, and then I want some sort of icon for shooting. This probably might be a bit subjective. Well, what we could do is when you've got no ammunition, we just start with an icon of nothing, right? Or don't know. I'm sure I saw like a little X somewhere. I think it was in part 1, wasn't it? Yeah, it's right there. Okay, so we start with like an X to begin with. And then okay, so let's save as into our GUI, and we'll call this button disabled, and we'll do a cheeky little crop and save. Alright, so now we have our let's move this. Whoa. Move this onto its own desktop show. Okay, so now we've got this up button, which is going to take up the whole screen, and we can grab our icons. So the arrow up should be here as the icon texture. We should consider this a flat button, and we should align it and expand the icon. Yep, I like that. Cool. And we also probably want some form of background. So I think it's under custom styles. So no focus, and it's actually a button press. Okay. Okay, we don't need to do a lot from here. Okay, so let's duplicate that button and create an S button. And we're going to put the disabled icon in there. Okay. And then we can duplicate that down and put the down button. So these buttons are actually going to be like left and right buttons for each player. However, because we're going to split them vertically, right, like for player 1, the top button is their left, and for player 2, yeah, it's kind of weird. Okay, I might actually bring this separator even wider. Okay, cool. So now we've got our controls for each player, and I've got some code already prepared. You can look at my previous stream if you want to see how we've got the prototype working with these controls. So I'm not going to go over it again just yet. But what we can do is we can just copy that file and bring that into our GUI directory, paste, and in the game, let's go into our controls scene and just drag that controls GD up and into here. Okay, and so now we can just get rid of that button. Okay, and we need to implement our game state. So our game state is essentially just keeping track of the players and their goals. So as you collect stuff, it's just a global object we set up. So that was in our model. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put that in our model. And when I say model, I'm actually talking about my data model, not the actual models. This isn't a 3D game, so we don't have models. So this is like how we model the state of the game, if that makes sense. Okay, and then what we do is we so we've got our game state, and we need to go into the project settings and just set that as like an auto load. So we're going to open our model game state, and we're just going to add it with the name game state. And that is going to allow our controls, each of our controls, to reference that game state as they go, right? Let's save that. And then what we need to do is we need to update our controls so that player 1 has the player number 1 and player 2 has the player number 2. Now these are exported variables that we've actually added in our script. So you can see here, export an integer variable player number with a default of 1. And that means this script is going to expose this variable so that then it's editable from outside. As you can see, script variables, right? So we created that. That doesn't come with Godot. Okay, so we've now got our player 1 and player 2 controls. We've got our split screen, which I don't, for some reason, isn't displaying anything. But, okay, I kind of don't like the perspective on this X. I might just clean that up, because it's just going to make things like a bit weird. Okay, so if I just grab this, B for pencil, and let's just get rid of that like outline and make it flat. So I think we're just going to embrace the flat in this game. It means that we don't have to worry about perspective. It's going to simplify shading, simplify the graphics for our split screen, considering our limited resolution. Okay, and then let's just do M for our marquee tool, and let's marquee just that little bit. Then I'm going to Option S O to crop and save that. And now if we go back to our game, we now have a flat. Oh, what's happening there? A little bit of a drag behind those. Let's just re-import that icon. Screw it, it's fine. No one will notice for now. Okay. So we've now got our main scene, and our main is going to manage things like our pause screen, level selection, that sort of thing. Then the game is an actual instance of the game, and inside here we have a screen split. We have our player 1 viewport and our player 2 viewport. Then on top of that we've got another split, and that is essentially just splitting our controls here. So the next thing we want to do is we want to set up our progress bar. How do I say this?